Here we are, the heart of New York City, Times Square. Look at this place. It's an absolute explosion of light, sound, and energy. Even at this hour, it feels like the middle of the day. The billboards are like giant digital suns, painting the night sky with every color you can imagine. And the crowds, it's a river of people flowing from every corner of the world. Each face tells a different story, everyone drawn here by the magnetic pull of this iconic intersection. Walking through here, you can't help but feel a little small, a tiny piece of this massive, pulsating human puzzle. You hear a dozen different languages. The smell of street food hangs in the air, hot dogs, roasted nuts. It's a complete sensory overload, but in the best way possible. Every screen is vying for your attention, showing off the latest Broadway shows, the newest tech, the biggest brands. It's capitalism's cathedral, and tonight, we are all its worshippers. There's a certain magic to it, though. You see the yellow cabs zipping by, a constant stream of light. You see street performers drawing in circles of amazed onlookers. There's the famous red staircase, packed with people just sitting, watching, and soaking it all in. It's the perfect spot for people watching. You've got families on vacation, their kids' eyes wide with wonder. You've got couples holding hands, lost in their own little world amidst the chaos. And you've got people like me, just one person with a camera, trying to capture a sliver of this incredible spectacle. It's easy to get swept up in the current, to just move with the flow of the crowd. But if you stop for a second, right in the middle of it all, and just look up, it's breathtaking. The sheer scale of the buildings, the dizzying height, the way the lights reflect off the wet pavement after a quick drizzle. It's like standing inside a movie. You've seen it 1,000 times in films and on TV, but nothing prepares you for the feeling of actually being here. It's real. It's vibrant. It's alive. You can feel the history, too. This place has been the backdrop for so many iconic moments, especially New Year's Eve. You can almost imagine the ball dropping, the confetti flying, the sound of millions of people cheering as a new year begins. Standing here, feel connected to all of that. To every person who has ever stood on this very spot and felt the same sense of awe, this is more than just a tourist attraction. It's a symbol. It's a testament to ambition, to art, to the relentless pace of modern life. It's loud, it's chaotic, and some might even say it's overwhelming. But it's also undeniably beautiful. It's the city that never sleeps. And tonight, Times Square is proving it. It's a place of dreams, a crossroads of the world. And for a few moments, it feels like you're at the center of the universe. Thanks for joining me on this little walk through the dazzling chaos. It's an experience I won't forget anytime soon. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe for more adventures. See you in the next one. Ever heard of a place that just swallows people? No, I'm not talking about some remote jungle or a treacherous mountain peak. I'm talking about a bustling city square, packed with people under the bright glow of streetlights. This is the story of the disappearance of Alara Vance, a story that still sends shivers down the spine of anyone who hears it. It was a crisp autumn evening in the historic city of Viridia. The Grand Piazza was alive, as it always was. Tourists snapped photos of the magnificent clock tower. Locals sipped coffee at outdoor cafes, and the sound of laughter mixed with the gentle melody of a street musician's violin. Alara Vance, a 28-year-old solo traveler from a small town, was right there in the middle of it all. Her social media was filled with pictures from that day. Her smiling in front of the fountain, a close-up of a delicious-looking pastry, a panoramic shot of the sunset painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Her last post was a video of the clock tower, captioned Viridia, "You have my heart." A few minutes later, she would vanish without a trace. According to multiple witnesses, the first strange thing happened at exactly 9:07 p.m. The ornate streetlights that lined the piazza, which had been reliably shining for decades, began to flicker erratically. Not just one or two, but all of them, in a chaotic, unsynchronized rhythm. The cheerful ambiance of the square was instantly replaced by a sense of unease. People looked up from their phones in conversations, confused. Then came the wind. It wasn't a gentle breeze. Witnesses described it as a sudden, localized gust of bone-chilling cold that seemed to originate from the very center of the square. It was strong enough to knock over cafe signs and send napkins flying. Yet strangely, the trees just beyond the piazza's edge remained perfectly still. The wind swirled for no more than 10 seconds, creating a vortex of dust and leaves right where Alara Vance was last seen standing, admiring the clock tower. And then, as quickly as it started, it stopped. The lights steadied, returning to their warm, constant glow. The wind died down, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. People blinked, looking around, trying to process what had just happened. It was a man looking for his wind-blown hat who first noticed something was wrong. He remembered seeing a young woman with a bright red backpack standing near the fountain. Now, she was gone. In the blink of an eye, Alara Vance had disappeared. She wasn't seen walking away. She wasn't seen getting into a car. She wasn't seen talking to anyone. One moment she was there, a vibrant part of the evening crowd, and the next, she was simply not. The police were called immediately. They launched a massive investigation, interviewing every single person in that square. They reviewed hours of security footage from every camera in the vicinity. And this is where the story gets even stranger. The footage is chilling. You can see Alara clear as day, standing with a red backpack. You see the lights flicker. You see the dust kick up around her from the sudden wind. But during that 10-second gust, the footage from every single camera glitches. For 10 seconds, all the screens show nothing but static. When the picture returns at 9:08 p.m., the square is exactly as it was, minus one person. Alara Vance is gone. Her phone, her wallet, her passport, everything was in her backpack. Nothing was left behind. No scuff marks, no signs of a struggle, no trace at all. It was as if she had been erased from existence. Theories exploded. Some said it was a bizarre, perfectly coordinated kidnapping. But how? In a crowded square, with dozens of witnesses, and without leaving a single piece of evidence? Others whispered about more esoteric explanations. The city of Iridia has its share of old legends, tales of ancient doorways, to other worlds hidden in plain sight. They say the clock tower, built on the site of an ancient stone circle, sometimes acts as a key. Had Alara Vance stumbled upon something she wasn't supposed to see? Did that strange wind carry her somewhere else entirely? To this day, the case remains open. The Veridia Police Department officially lists it as a missing person case, but privately, many of the officers who worked on it admit they've never seen anything like it. The piazza is still there, the lights still shine, and the clock tower still chimes the hour. But for those who know the story, a walk through the square on a cool evening feels different. You can't help but glance at the center, remembering the tourist who was there 1 second and gone the next, swallowed by a gust of cold wind. What do you think happened to Alara Vance? Let me know your theories in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed diving into mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe for more. Have you ever heard of the case of Lars Meat? It's been called the most famous missing person case on YouTube for a reason. This story is a rabbit hole of bizarre behavior, chilling last words, and a vanishing act that defies explanation. It all started in July 2014. Lars, a 28-year-old German man, was on a fun-filled vacation with his friends in Golden Sands, a popular seaside resort in Bulgaria. Everything seemed normal. They were having a great time, enjoying the sun and the nightlife. But on one of the last nights, things took a strange turn. Lars got into a fight. He was a fan of one German football team, and some other guys were fans of a rival team. Accounts differ, but the argument escalated, and Lars ended up with a ruptured ear. It wasn't life-threatening, but it was painful, and doctors told him he couldn't fly home with his friends as scheduled. The pressure changes in the plane's cabin could cause serious damage to his ear. So, his friends flew back, and Lars stayed behind to recover. He checked into a cheap hotel near the Varna airport, and that's when his behavior became truly erratic. Alone in a foreign country, Lars started calling his mother, sounding terrified. He spoke in whispers, claiming he was being followed by 4 men who wanted to rob or kill him. He told her to cancel his credit cards. He said he was hiding, trying to escape these mysterious men. His mother, thousands of miles away, was frantic. She booked him a bus ticket home and tried to calm him down. He sounded paranoid and scared out of his mind. Was he really in danger? Or was this a side effect of his injury or medication? No one knows. The next morning, Lars went to the Varna airport, hoping to get a medical clearance to fly. He was seen on CCTV footage, looking anxious, pacing back and forth. He called his mother one last time from the airport, telling her, "They won't let me fly, and they won't let me go by bus." He said he was hiding in a terminal bathroom. What happened next is the core of the mystery. Lars left the bathroom and walked into the airport's medical clinic to see the doctor. A construction worker happened to walk in at the same time. For reasons we will never understand, the sight of this worker seemed to trigger something in Lars. Panic. He shot up from his chair, yelled, "I don't want to die here," and bolted. He ran out of the doctor's office, sprinted through the entire airport terminal, leaving his wallet, phone, and backpack behind. Security cameras captured the whole thing. He ran like his life depended on it. He didn't stop at the exit. He kept running, climbed over a tall, barbed wire fence surrounding the airport, and disappeared into a dense sunflower field next to a major highway. And that's the last time anyone ever saw him. An extensive search was launched. Police, drones, and tracker dogs combed the area. The sunflower field was vast, and it was the middle of summer. Theories flooded the internet. Did he have a psychotic break? Was he on drugs? Did the men he was scared of actually catch up to him, or did he simply get lost in the dense vegetation, succumb to his injuries or the elements? And his body has just never been found. His family has never given up hope. For years, there have been alleged sightings, grainy photos from Brazil or other parts of the world, but none have ever been confirmed to be him. The video of him sprinting through the airport has been viewed millions of times, with people dissecting every frame, looking for clues. But in the end, it just leaves us with more questions. How does a person just vanish into thin air, in broad daylight, from a public place like an airport? Lars Mittank walked into that sunflower field and stepped out of our world. His story is a chilling reminder that sometimes there are no easy answers. What do you think happened to Lars? Let me know your theories in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you're intrigued by mysteries like this, be sure to subscribe for more. Have you ever heard of a crime so perfectly executed, it left even the FBI completely stumped? Not just a clever heist or a disappearing act, but an event that seems to defy the very laws of physics. This isn't a plot from a sci-fi movie. It's a real case that authorities have kept under wraps for years. A puzzle with no solution. It all began on a quiet Tuesday morning, on a street just like yours. The first calls to 911 were frantic, confused. Residents reported seeing something impossible. By the time the first police cruisers arrived, whatever had happened was over. All that was left was a scene of utter bewilderment. The officers did what they were trained to do. They secured the perimeter, taping off the entire block. Yellow tape stretched from lamppost to lamppost, a stark warning against the mundane backdrop of suburban life. But what were they securing it from? There were no signs of forced entry, no broken glass, no fingerprints, no footprints. It was as if a ghost had passed through. The initial responding officers walked the scene, their faces a mixture of confusion and disbelief. They interviewed witnesses, but the stories were so outlandish, so contradictory. They sounded like something out of a fever dream. One person swore they saw the sky ripple. Another claimed a building momentarily vanished. The officers just jotted down the notes, their professional skepticism warring with the unsettling feeling that something truly strange had occurred. Their next step was to pull the security footage. In today's world, everything is on camera. Traffic cams, doorbell cams, storefront, CCTV, digital web that captures nearly every moment. They gathered terabytes of data from every possible angle. They took it back to the station and huddled around the monitors, expecting to find the key, the one piece of evidence that would explain it all. They watched the footage. They rewound it. They watched it in slow motion. Nothing. On every single screen, at the exact same second. The feed would glitch for a fraction of a moment, just a flicker of static, and then everything was normal again. The problem was the scene asterisk, before asterisk, the flicker, and the scene asterisk, after asterisk, were subtly, yet impossibly, different. Objects had moved. A car parked on the left side of the street was now on the right. A statue in a garden was facing the opposite direction. No people, no vehicles, no explanation. Just a before, a flicker, and a completely altered after. The officers were baffled. It wasn't just one camera. It was all of them, perfectly synchronized. That's when the black SUVs rolled in. Unmarked, silent, they parked just outside the police tape. Men and women in crisp, dark suits stepped out the FBI. They didn't announce their arrival with sirens. They just appeared. They didn't consult the local police so much as inform them. The local PD was told to stand down and hand over everything they had. The agents were different. They were quiet, intense, and they moved with a purpose that was both unnerving and impressive. They weren't just looking at the obvious cameras. They seemed to know about cameras the local police didn't even know existed. Tiny, hidden lenses tucked away in the most inconspicuous of places inside a fake rock in a garden. On the corner of a roof, disguised as a piece of trim. These weren't for public security. They were for something else entirely. The FBI agents took this classified footage and examined it in their mobile command unit. Hours turned into days. They ran diagnostics, spectral analysis, every trick in their high-tech playbook. They were looking for digital manipulation, a coordinated hack, anything to explain the synchronized glitch and the rearranged reality. They found nothing. No evidence of tampering, no external signals, no electromagnetic pulse. The data was clean. The cameras had simply recorded an event that shouldn't be possible. The agents, the best of the best, were left with the same conclusion as the beat cops. They had no idea what happened. No theories, no leads, no evidence. Just a blank file on an event that officially never occurred. What do you think really happened that day? Let me know your theories in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories that defy explanation, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by unsolved mysteries. The ones that really get you thinking. The ones that defy all logical explanation. But what happened last Tuesday, right in the heart of our city, is something else entirely. It's not just a mystery. It's an impossibility. I'm standing here at the corner of Elm Street and Oak Avenue. If you live here, you know this intersection. For over 50 years, the old Winthrop building stood right here on this spot. A 6-story brick landmark. It housed a little bit of everything. A law firm, a dentist's office, a small art gallery. I'm not talking about a demolition. There's no rubble, no dust, no debris. Even the small flower bed that ran along its front wall is untouched. The Winthrop building has been surgically removed from reality. When the news first broke, it was chaos. The initial 911 calls were from people who thought they were going crazy. The building. It's gone. The first responders, the police, the fire department. They were just as baffled. They sealed off the area, not because of a crime scene, but because they had no idea what else to do. How do you investigate the absence of something? Of course, the news crews arrived in a swarm. You can see them now, setting up their cameras. Their reporters trying to find the right words to describe the industry. They interview bewildered witnesses. People who saw the building just yesterday. People who had appointments there this morning. One woman was in tears. Her father had worked in that building for 30 years. She said it was like a piece of her life had been erased. And then there's the internet. Social media has absolutely exploded. The hashtags are trending worldwide. Hashtag vanishing building. Hashtag the Elm Street Void. Hashtag glitch in the Matrix. The theories are running wild. And honestly, can you blame them? People are posting everything from grainy satellite images to complex physics diagrams. The most popular theory: alien abduction. I know, it sounds like a movie plot. But what else fits? Whispers of a new kind of teleportation technology. Or maybe a weapon gone horribly wrong. Proponents of this theory point to the lack of any public statement from high-level officials. The silence, they say, is deafening. They argue that this clean, precise removal could only be achieved with technology far beyond what the public knows. Look at the crowd here. It grows every hour. People are just standing, staring, whispering. They're taking pictures of nothing. They're trying to process what they're seeing, or rather, what they're not seeing. It's become a pilgrimage site for the curious, the believers, and the terrified. Every person here has a story about the building, a memory, and now they share the collective shock of its absence. What do I think? I don't know. We are faced with an event that breaks all the rules of our world. As I stand here, I can't help but feel small, like we're all just living in a world we don't fully understand. One thing is for sure, the story of the Winthrop building is far from over. This empty space holds the biggest secret in the world right now, and we're all waiting for an answer. Stay safe, and keep your eyes on the sky. You never know what you might see, or what might disappear next. Ever walk through a crowd and feel completely invisible? For most of us, it's just a feeling. But on a bustling Tuesday evening in Times Square, for one man, it became a shocking reality. His name was Julian Moore, and he vanished. Not in a dark alley, not in a remote forest, but right here, under the dazzling glare of a million electric lights, surrounded by thousands of people. Let's set the scene. It's 7:15 p.m. Julian, a tourist from Ohio, is on a video call with his family back home, showing them the spectacle of Times Square. We have the footage. He's laughing, panning his phone around to capture the billboards, the costumed characters, the river of people flowing around him. He tells his wife, "It's unreal. You've got to see this." He turns the camera back to his face, smiling, and says, "I'll call you from the hotel." Then, the call drops. That was the last time anyone ever heard from him. At first, his family wasn't worried. Dropped calls happen, especially in a place as congested as Times Square. But when Julian didn't call back, and then didn't return to his hotel that night, panic set in. The next morning, he was officially reported missing. The NYPD launched a full-scale investigation. This should have been an easy case, right? A man disappears from one of the most surveilled places on Earth. There are cameras on every corner, on every building, in every store. His face should have been captured 100 times over. But here's where the story takes a turn from a simple missing person case to an unnerving modern mystery. The police pulled footage from every possible angle. They tracked Julian's movements from the moment he stepped out of the subway. They saw him buy a hot dog. They saw him take a selfie with a street performer, and they saw him standing in the middle of the pedestrian plaza, making that final video call. The footage is crystal clear. You see him talking, smiling, ending the call, and putting his phone in his pocket. He stands there for another 30 seconds, just looking up at the lights. Then, nothing. It's like he was erased. In one frame, he's there. In the next, he's gone. It's not a camera glitch. The police check. The crowd continues to move around the spot where he stood, fluid and unbroken. No one seems to notice anything unusual. No one stops. No one screams. It's as if he simply ceased to exist. Investigators were baffled. They interviewed hundreds of people who were in that exact spot at that exact time. No one remembered seeing anything. Not a struggle, not a commotion, not a man suddenly vanishing into thin air. The theory started flying. Was it a planned disappearance? Julian had a stable job, a happy family, and no known financial troubles. He had no reason to run. Was it a kidnapping? A snatch and grab so slick, so professional, that it left no trace, even under the watchful eyes of countless cameras. Experts say that's nearly impossible in a location like Times Square. The logistics would be a nightmare. So what are we left with? The digital breadcrumbs stopped dead. His phone was never turned on again. His credit cards were never used. His social media went silent. For weeks, his face was plastered on news channels and digital billboards right there in Times Square, a ghost haunting the place he was last seen. But the city, as it always does, moved on. The lights kept flickering, the crowds kept coming, and Julian Moore's empty space was filled. Today, the case remains open, but cold. A file in a cabinet filled with unanswered questions. How can a person just vanish from the center of the world? It challenges our sense of security, our belief that in our constantly recorded society, we can't just be lost. Julian Moore's story is a chilling reminder that sometimes the biggest mysteries don't happen in the dark, but in the brightest of lights, hidden in plain sight. What do you think happened? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're intrigued by mysteries that defy explanation, make sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.